So I know a lot of you guys watching this video are in transition. Maybe you've just graduated college. You've just left the military. Maybe you've been fired from your job or laid off. Maybe you're just simply looking to switch industries, or you're looking for something better. You're tired of being underappreciated and underpaid, and you're looking for a better opportunity. So you're out there interviewing. In today's video, gents, I'm going to give you 10 tips to nail, to kick butt in any interview. Now, when I created this video, I imagined a formal interview setting, but understand you can use these tips, and I think they're even more important in a non-formal setting. So we're talking just meeting a recruiter at a coffee shop or simply talking to somebody on the phone. A lot of the information I'm going to talk about, you can still use there, and understand when people are looking at you for a job, they're measuring up at all times. Are you going to be a good fit? Are you going to bring value? And that's what we're going to cover. Tip number 1. Dress appropriately. You knew I was going to talk about this one, but let me be really clear. Some companies have a dress code, and they will specifically tell you for the interview, via email, via the phone call. Get that information, follow it, and just understand that it is expected. This is something you should do. Now, if they say there is no dress code, understand that there still is a dress code. There's a company culture. There's a way that they normally dress to work, because if you're applying to work at a fast food joint and you show up in a black tie outfit, understand you are sending the wrong signal. And you don't have to wear a suit. A suit is not mean that you're going to be well dressed or appropriately dressed. But understand that even if they say there's no dress code, well, if that's the case, why don't you show up in a chicken suit or show up naked? And obviously, that wouldn't work. That would work against you. So there is an expectation, and you're going to just have to do a bit more research. Maybe look at the company website, check out videos, look at pictures, see how people are dressing. And if you're going to deviate in any way, maybe dress a little bit better. Maybe you look around, they wear business casual, which for them is a nice shirt with a tie with a pair of chinos or slacks or something like that. Well, maybe you have the same look, but you will actually wear a sports jacket that fits you well. Now, if you show up and nobody is wearing a sports jacket, nobody's wearing a tie, well, you could simply take the tie off. You could take the jacket off, put it to the side, and go into your interview and feel good. Now, notice there was a little bit of flexibility that you gave yourself there, but the key point, gentlemen, is dress appropriately, do the research. Tip number 2, know what time your interview is at. Then confirm the time. Then arrive 15 minutes early. How do you do that? Well, you simply have a watch. Now, you can use your phone, whatever it may be, guys. You can control this. You can't control traffic, but you can control knowing that there might be traffic, and don't use that as an excuse. I can tell you that I've had people late for interviews in which I was looking to hire them, and instantly when I know that they can't arrive on time for our interview, it sends a very bad signal. Well, oh, and by the way, the sponsor of this video, Original Grain, guys, let me pull up their website. You have seen these guys before. I love this company, Original Grain. Look at this, wood watches that are handcrafted from premium, sustainable wood and 100% stainless steel. Each is unique. Each is original. Guys, look at the different styles from the chrono, the classic, the barrel, the minimalist. And if I have extra ones, go through their website. Identify the ones that you love. Let me know in the comments. Be specific. Whenever I have extras, I send them out your way. But look at the different wood types. The whiskey barrel, the rosewood, the ebony, the maple, the Verawood. I want to hear from you guys down in the comments. Which ones do you really like? And the thing I love about wearing a watch is it's so simple. You may lose your phone, but this watch is not going to go anywhere. What I also like about watches is that it changes your relationship to time. It's something that you just flick the wrist, you see it, and guys, definitely go check out Original Grain. Great company. Let's get to point number 3. Tip number 3, do your research on the company. So this really depends on at what level you're getting hired, but I would say at a minimum, spend an hour reading up on the history of the company. If you can't, talk to somebody that works there, learn when it was founded, who runs it, how many people work there, what they do. You need to understand where this company fits in the world. Now, if it's an entry level, they're probably not going to ask you or expect you to know a whole lot. You're being hired for a specific position. But understand, if you're coming in at a higher level, if you're coming in as management and they're going to be paying you buku dollars, you need to really do your research. I'm talking sometimes 8 hours. works. Go and look at their financials. When I got my MBA at the University of Texas, we were actually shown how to go in and research these companies, all the things we had to know, because they want you to be able to hit the ground running. And by showing that you actually put in the time, they will say, you know, if nothing else, this person's going to be well prepared. Tips 4 and 5, I'm going to go ahead and bring together, but understand and think about what positions you're going to fill and what roles you're going to fill in the company, and think about how you're going to add value to the company. And let me talk about roles and positions. So at early points, if you're just, again, entry level, oftentimes this is where you're just starting your career, you're maybe under the age of 25, and you're going into a company and you're just looking to be able to put your head down and work, and you're expecting someone to be able to manage you well, to go in, you know, with find a mentor, that kind of stuff. And that's how most people start off. But understand that there's still an expectation. Well, what job are you applying for? Because, you know, I'm talking with you here, you're applying for this, but have you ever thought of this? You're wanting to come into the finance department, but you sound like a marketing person. Maybe we could bring you in here as an analyst. So be aware of the different positions that you could possibly be eligible for. After that, and this is a little bit higher level, think about what value you can bring to the company. This is more managerial ownership level, because I'm always thinking as an owner of a company, how the person I'm going to bring in, how are they going to pay for themselves? What type of ROI am I going to get whenever this person, because I got to pay them a salary, but understand I've got to make at least 3 to 5 times what I pay that person. They've got to make for me as a business owner to cover taxes, expenses, risk, all that other stuff. So if you actually are coming at that high level and you realize, hey, I'm coming in as a consultant, you're going to pay me a lot of money, I'm going to be able to sell services, I'm going to be able to work with these companies and get it so that they will want to work with us again and again. I've done this with other companies. That right there, high value. Tip number 6, practice interviewing. Guys, practice makes perfect. No, not really. Perfect practice makes perfect. So there are many scripts out there, many things, many questions that you can ask yourself, or you can get somebody on Skype. You can ask a friend, you can ask a family member to ask you these questions and for you to answer them. And once you get better than that, you know, maybe hire a coach. If you're still in school, if you're getting out of the military, understand there are resources available to you, oftentimes at no cost, that you can actually work with a coach who will know what questions to ask. You just need to practice, prepare, and that way when you go into that high pressure environment, okay, you know, I've answered this question before, or that's a common one, or I have a feeling that this is something they're going to ask me. You can preempt, you can practice, you can get good at interviewing. Job interview tips 7 and 8, I'm going to bring them together. Have 3 concise stories that illustrate your strengths, and have 3 concise stories that show your weaknesses, and these need to be real weaknesses, and how you overcome them or deal with them. So let's talk about strengths. This one's pretty easy. We are, especially in the United States, we're very good at talking about ourselves and going on, but you got to keep it concise, keep it focused and on the point, show and have emotion in it, but make sure you bring it right back, and have 3 different ones that illustrate 3 different strengths. Now the weaknesses. Make sure these are real weaknesses. Don't say, oh, I work too much, or I just try too hard, I'm a perfectionist. That's not a real weakness. Be open, be vulnerable, because many people don't, and they screw this question up all the time. So have you know what, at my last company, I was so hard-headed that I kept working on this project. A month passed, my boss literally told me to disengage, but I kept at it on my off time. Yeah, I was doing stuff with the company, but I just couldn't give it up. Turned out that, you know, it was an impossible problem, but sometimes I'm really stubborn. And I can tell you, okay, so I get that, and you know how to bring that back. It actually is a weakness, but you talked about how you've developed a system, know to cut it off. You did it in your off time. So I look at that as almost like, wow, this person they're a bulldog. They're going to bite onto something and they're not going to let go. So there are ways to have a real weakness and to still show a strength. Interview tips number 9 and 10, I'm going to bring them together. Number 9, don't try to BS anyone. And number 10, go ahead, it's okay to skip a question, to ask for a pass. So let me explain. So number 9, don't try to be, I remember back in business school, I'm interviewing with a high-tech IT consulting company. And the guy asked me this question, use all these acronyms I've never heard of. He asked me about a situation I have no idea how to solve. And I just say, hey, let me take a minute to think about this. Well, I didn't need a minute. I needed probably a year to figure out exactly what he said. I had no idea. And I looked bad because a minute later, I simply had to admit I had no no idea how to answer the question. I didn't even understand what he was answering. So don't try to BS these people. They will see right through it. And then point number 10, it's okay to be clear. Hey, can we skip that? I have no idea even what you asked. Worst case, they're going to say, you know what, this guy he needs a lot of training. Well, they can figure that out pretty quick. But by skipping, by saying, hey, I understand, it shows that you understand your limitations and that you are humble enough to be able to say, I need help when you need it. Bonus tip, and this applies to everything, is to have confidence and know what you stand for and believe in yourself. And don't let the decision of that person across from you may have any effect on who you are. It could just be that they decide not to hire you because it's not the right time, that you're not the right fit. The point being is whether or not you get the job, that doesn't define who you are as a person. Who you are as a person is what you have when you start off with this life and what you do with it. And that's a day in, day out job. So if you're out there looking for work, understand it's oftentimes a numbers game. It's also finding the right company, the right fit. Don't give up. Continue to improve yourself a bit every day. Guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. A little bit different from my normal style topics, but it is business communication. I love to cover this stuff here at Real Men, Real Style. And go check out the sponsor, Original Grain, a great company. I've had them as a sponsor for over a year. I think they're great watches. Go check them out, great company. And I'll have a link that you can use down in the description. That's it, gents. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.